All right, everyone. Well, thank you so much for being here with us today. My name is Crystal McCauley. I'm the Community Director for Mom Congress, and very excited to be bringing you all another Mom's Agenda bill for the 118th Congress. We're very excited to bring the bill training to you today for the Caring for Grieving Families Act. We're especially honored to be joined by the author's office to be here telling us about this bill. So thank you for being here if you're joining us live, and if you're watching the recording, thank you for being here. The slides will all have the live links that we're going to share today, and we can go ahead and go to the next slide. So as you know, if you've been here before, we start with a couple notes for the day. So right now, we're going to ask you to look up the Caring for Grieving Families Act. That's HR 5909. I am putting a link in the chat for that right now, and Ebony can open it up so you all can have a look. If you're joining us for the first time today and you are wondering what in the world I'm talking about, what we are doing is we are looking up the bill on congress.gov to see who is listed as a co-sponsor. So if for any reason you don't already know who your House of Representatives member is, I'm going to drop that link in the chat right now too. You'll want to take a moment to look up your address. You'll want to plug it into this link that's coming in right here. That'll tell you who your House of Representatives member is. And once you've identified their name, if you don't already know that, you can then come back to HR 5909 here and scroll over to the co-sponsors tab. You'll see here that the lead sponsor is Representative Spanberger, and the co-sponsor, original co-sponsor listed here is Representative Miller Meeks. Those are the only two co-sponsors on at this time, so chances are that your representative is not yet listed. And I can share with you that this bill is currently only in the House. There's hopes for a Senate version in the works, so stay tuned for that. If that comes about, we'll be sure to share that information with you. But for right now, this is just in the House, and that's where we're going to get started today. Please go ahead and ask any questions you may have in the chat, and we will keep on going. So again, today we're bringing you the Caring for Grieving Families Act. This is a new addition to our Mom's Agenda bill. And for those of you that are joining us specifically with an interest in lost families, we're very proud to bring this bill to you. And I'm going to drop a link in the chat right now for the press release, which is linked here in the slides. Just a bit more background. There's some really great quotes from both the author and original co-sponsor's office here. That's okay, Ebony, you can skip it if you want. We can move on, and I can turn it over to Lucy. That is, so again, that press release is linked here in the comments, and now we can go on to the next slide and tell you that we're very honored today to be joined by Lucy Schwartz and Abby Holland, who are here from Abigail Spanberger's office. I thought this was a lovely photo of her. Her official congressional photo. But if you want to go to the next slide, Ebony, I found this photo during my searches, and it was really endearing to me because one of the things I was excited to share with you all is that Representative Spanberger is a mom as well. So to that end, we can go to the next slide, Ebony, and I will go ahead and ask Lucy, please introduce yourself. Thank you so much for being here to help our community learn about the bill today.
Thank you, and thank you for having us. And please let me know if you can't hear me. These are some $8 headphones from the supply store on the House side. So they're not very high tech. But yes, as you mentioned, the Congresswoman does have 3 school-age daughters. So this is a very, important and personal issue to her. And, she'd heard from women in our district that when they were expecting a child, their insurer would offer bundled payments, which is more of a, it's more focused on patient outcomes. However, when their pregnancy would result in, the insurers call it an incomplete episode, it would retroactively revert to fee-for-service payments. So if a woman had a miscarriage or a stillbirth, she would have to pay, instead of her bundled original payment, a fee-for-service payment, which is often has copays that are much, much higher than the bundled payment. And we just felt like this was a really unfair and cruel punishment to families that are already grieving for losing a pregnancy through no fault of their own, and that they shouldn't have to have financial burdens for something they have no control over. And so this bill, what it does is it prohibits insurers, so group health plans, individual health insurance plans that cover these pregnancy-related services in a bundle. It prohibits them from imposing a cost sharing requirement, which we really just think of as like copays, because I know cost sharing is a little more murky, but you can just think of it as copays, from having those copays be higher for your prenatal services prior than the bundled payment, like the whole bundle payment would have been prior to your miscarriage or stillbirth. So it bans what we think is a very just unfair and cruel practice. And we're very lucky to be supported by Moms Congress. And this bill is also supported by March of Dimes, ACOG, Planned Parenthood, the National Health Law Program. So really wonderful support from organizations there, but we would really like to gather some more co-sponsors. So we think it's just so important to reach out to your representative and ask to co-sponsor this bill, because the more momentum we get, the better it is. Abby, did I miss anything you want to share?
I don't think so. I was just thinking an example might be helpful to give to help understand what the bill does, just because insurance can be confusing for all of us. So an example in practice of what this bill would do: if a woman, say, is pregnant and her insurance offers her a pregnancy bundle, let's say it's supposed to be the bundled copay for the whole pregnancy is supposed to be $100. All she has to pay at the end of her pregnancy for every service she receives, from her first prenatal appointment, every ultrasound, everything up until the birth. It all gets bundled together in one bundled copayment of $100. What was happening is that women, when they had a miscarriage or stillbirth, then instead of being billed a $100 copay, their healthcare was unbundled. So they were responsible for a separate copay for every appointment, every ultrasound, every separate service they received, which then added up altogether to be more than $100, which is very unfair, an unfair billing practice, and also just cruel for women who are and families who are already undergoing a huge loss. And so what this bill would do is say, if the insurance company offered them a $100 copay, they cannot charge them any copay or cost sharing that's more than $100 in the event of a miscarriage or stillbirth. It has to be the same across miscarriages, stillbirths, and live births.
And Michelle, I'm seeing your question about other instances of pregnancy loss. This bill only covers miscarriage and stillbirth. We worked with our, experts and our advocates, and we felt this was the strongest version of the bills, and we think most likely to be able to pass. Neonatal death, it doesn't cover right now, but certainly still an issue we're interested in. If you want to flag similar bills for our office, please send them my way, because I'm very interested in these issues. But right now, it will only cover miscarriage and stillbirth, to answer your question.
Yeah, and thanks for those questions. I think pregnancy loss is such a devastating and broad issue, and we definitely considered a lot of different variations on this bill when we were drafting it. But in the end, in hopes of feasibility of this being able to pass, since kind of proposals like this, it's kind of the first of its kind. We hadn't seen anything like this before. We thought we might start with one small step, and once we make progress with that, we can hopefully move forward with further. So definitely bother Lucy about those, and we can look into other ways to potentially build on hopefully this momentum and continue working in this space, because there is so much work to be done.
Talking into a muted. Sorry. Just wanted to say, I have pulled the one pager up. If Ebony, you may have to refresh your slides there, but if you want to go to the next slide, and I can also share it in the chat here. So we have a one pager that gives sort of more facts and insights to the bill. I'm going to drop this in the chat now. Oh, sorry, Ebony, you may have to go back a slide. I'm hiding it from you. I apologize. There's that one pager in the chat. And Michelle, I want to let you know, I saw your question about Senator Duckworth's office, and I'd be happy to share my last notes from the last time we talked with her office about that bill specifically. Okay, so we have another question. If I can, thank you for bringing up the one pager. The question is, would medical terminations be considered miscarriages? We may have to go back to the definition of stillbirth versus miscarriage. I think you touched on that briefly. I think that was Abby, perhaps. And I don't know if this is touched on in the bill or not, or if you
I
can.
believe, I'm trying to rack my brain. I believed we used the medical definition of miscarriage.
Yes.
And that's actually a good question. I'm not sure how that affects ectopic pregnancies. So that's something we should definitely look into. Lucy, it might be something we could check with CRS or committee on how that would.
Yeah.
And
Michelle,
legislative council.
Sorry, I was going to say, and Michelle, to your point, I think anything before 20 weeks, especially if it's ectopic or a molar pregnancy or something of that nature, would be covered under this. But I think we can go back and find out the specifics and then see if there's, if there's going to be any limitation, especially on specific losses like you have described there. So thank you for that. And the same thing for medical termination. So I think that's along the same lines of those two. But if you have more specific questions, please feel free to put them in the chat, or you can send them to us directly and we can relay them back to the representative's office.
Yeah, and I'm happy. I will take that to CRS because that's a very good point. Yeah, but I can also send, let me share with you guys also. Oh, never mind, you already shared that. I was gonna say I'll share the bill text so you could see the definitions we use, but it's a pretty simple bill. This yeah, no, but I'm taking notes, so I'll be sure to ask committee about that.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you so much. So does anyone else have questions specifically about the bill? I think we understand that this is limiting cost sharing when it comes to insurance. Has anyone asked specifically, and I don't know the answer, but is there any thought to Medi-Cal, or is this only for privately insured individuals?
Can you say again, is this for Medicare or only privately insured individuals?
Yes.
Yeah, so it's group health plans and individual health insurance plans. So it would be privately insured. This would not extend to Medicare, but I believe it could extend to like Medicaid, MCO state offering plans. I can double check, but I believe that it would extend across this. But yeah, it wouldn't.
I don't think it doesn't affect Medicaid, but there is no cost sharing for pregnancy care in Medicaid. So we looked into that as well, but since Medicaid is already doing such a wonderful job of caring for pregnant people, we didn't feel that there was a need. This wouldn't be an issue in Medicaid, in other words. So since there is no cost sharing at all, which is wonderful, but that's why we chose to focus on the private sector.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you very much for that. We have a question here. Heard miscarriage in the medical field as the spontaneous loss of pregnancy. Would it not include ectopic pregnancies since a procedure has to occur? Okay, that's a good question, Michelle. And I think that's going to be part of perhaps the follow-up there. I don't know if you got that question too, Lucy, to see if including the spontaneous loss of pregnancy in the terminology that you're double checking on would be really great.
No, that's great. And I already wrote that down, so I will certainly add that.
Oh, Becky, thanks for the note. The one pager is saying you need access. Let me see if I can fix that for you right now. This is funny. Okay, well, give me a minute. For some reason, the PDF is not wanting to share as a PDF, but I'll share it to you in Google Google Doc format, and hopefully that will fix the issue. So that will be coming in the chat right now, and I'll be sure to update it in the slides. Let me know if you're able to get into that one. I think someone has their hand raised, but I'm trying to see who it is. Ashley, do you have your hand raised?
Yeah, hi, I'm Ashley. I'm kind of new, so I'm not sure like if anyone else is medical on here, but I'm actually a provider. So I just wanted to jump in that there's actually 4 or 5 different types of miscarriage, and I just wanted to make sure all that language was going to be included. There's like inevitable, spontaneous, let me have it, I pulled it up. The threatened, inevitable, complete, incomplete, or missed.
That's really helpful, and thank you very much. I think that there are some other providers on the call, but it would be really fantastic if you wouldn't mind sharing that information and definition in email, and I can forward that on to their team just to be sure that we cross-reference everything. Would be really greatly appreciated.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
And it's worth noting also, thank you for being here. We love our medical providers. Our co-lead on this bill is a physician as well, which is wonderful. She has a medical background, Marinette Miller-Meeks. So we're really excited to have her as our partner on this. And she's also on the committee of jurisdiction. So that should help us hopefully push the bill forward.
Awesome. Yeah, no, I'm excited for all of this. This is really, really exciting.
Yeah, that's fantastic. That's another good point that you bring up. So yeah, just want to say again that the bill is already bipartisan at introduction, and so hopefully that will be, as per usual, our easy mom Congress shoe-in is that this is not a partisan issue by any means. This is a family issue, and it affects us all. And Lucy will be the point of contact that your representatives' offices can reach out to. So I will drop her email address in the chat that you all can share. And if your office is ready to sign on, they can just reach out to her and she will get them on the bill. One other question I have that's come to me in a text message is there any cost associated with this bill? So if somebody has a really fiscally conservative individual that they're talking with, I think the answer is no, but I just want to double check that I wouldn't be leading someone astray.
Yeah, the answer should be no. The bill hasn't been officially scored, but it doesn't have any like Medicare, Medicaid, like Abby was saying, and that's usually where most of our costs come from. So yeah, it should be no cost, but the bill has not been officially scored.
Yeah, since it ensures parity with pregnancies that are carried to a live birth, then it's basically preventing insurance companies from charging more than they would have otherwise. So it's not giving benefits or a reduced cost to patients. It's just requiring that they are only responsible for what they would have been otherwise.
That's fantastic. Thank you so much. Well, does anyone else have a question before we wrap up our training today? Becky, should we reach out to our senators at all for the bills? This one. Okay. That's such a really good question, Becky. And I can turn this back over to your offices. I mean, I think you all are in the works shopping for some possible authors on the Senate side right now. And we know how we can lean in on our end if you need us. So you just let us know what's right for the moment.
Yeah, no, thank you. And that is very appreciated. We have already gotten some outreach from a Senate office about this bill, and we are still working all that through, but certainly we're going to start exploring a Senate companion. We will very much look for Moms Congress advice about our Senate leads. So definitely something that we have in the works. And I'm glad to hear that you guys are interested in pushing on the Senate side as well, because that's always very welcome. But yeah, we will keep you updated there.
Already. Yeah. That's fantastic. What we'll do is we'll hold off on our end. We'll just be contacting only our House of Representatives members for now. And then I think, Ebony, if you want to go, I've got just one last slide that's letting everyone know that our Mom Congress members are invited to join us for a networking session. And I know there's going to be lots of opportunities for people who want to talk to each other about when are you next doing your outreach. We have our next live outreach sessions planned for January. We'll be making live phone calls and things of that nature. And I think a lot of you know that we're still aiming for our May dates to go into DC in person. So again, looking forward to speaking with all of you very soon. And thank you so much, Lucy and Abby, not only for all of your partnership leading up to today, but for this fantastic bill and for supporting moms and families in the unique way that your office does. We're really grateful, and we are excited to get to work on this.
Thank you so much. And the Congresswoman is very grateful for your organization's support and for all of you. I mean, it's really meaningful to us. So thank you so much. And thank you all for being here today. This is really wonderful.
Yeah, thank you all for your support and, your stories. I know a lot of you have experienced these tragedies firsthand, and so thank you for your advocacy on this issue and others. And that'll be so important, probably the most important thing in talking to your representatives about this bill is you sharing how it impacts you personally. So we are so thankful for that. And thanks for joining this training and for helping us push this bill forward.
Oh, I have one more thank you to give to your office. You all signed on to the Shine for Autumn Act this week. So thank you very much. I told you we'd have lots of Shine advocates on the call today. So I know they'll be thrilled to hear that. And thank you for that support. That's really greatly appreciated. Can't wait to celebrate when all these bills are passed. It's going to be great.
Yes, us too. Us too.
Wonderful. All right, everyone. So nice to see you as always. Enjoy the rest of your Wednesday and your holiday season, and talk to you soon.